You might have heard of the study of, the Muslims in America, 24% of them become murtad. Have you heard of this? 24%. And it's collected by Pew Research. Now this is a shocking thing. You say 23% of Muslims in America become murtad. So I went and looked at the methodology in it. Because when you look at the article, they say we've interviewed the people, and they don't mention who they've interviewed and how they've interviewed them. They've interviewed 1,000 people. And a big chunk of them are Iranians, Shia Iranians, who didn't know English language. They had to have translators. Now we know Shia Iranians, they have their own political baggage. That especially the ones who have, after 1979, the Islamic Revolution, so-called Islamic Revolution, after that took place, they had a resentment. We were just talking about like when Islamic authorities become in power, sometimes resentment brews. And it led to apostasies. It did. So these people, they just moved away from it. They said, why should we worship Al-Hussein? Let's just worship Jesus instead. Or whatever they thought in their minds, Or they moved away from religion altogether. They became secularists. So when you interview 30%, 40% of Iranians who can't even speak English as a first language, and who have a disproportionate disinterest in Islam compared to the other Middle Eastern countries or Islamic countries, then clearly you're going to have a skewed result. And if that constitutes 20 or 30% of your 1,000 people that you've spoken to, and then you tell me afterwards that 23% of Muslims in America are becoming disbelievers, I have reason to doubt you now. Because is that compositionally congruent with the population in America? It's not. If you look at a population of demographic population of Muslims in America, most of them is African Americans. Then you find Arabs and Asians coming from abroad, and then you find some white converts and stuff. And yes, you'll find these Iranians in there. But Iranian Muslims may, according to demographics, account 5-6% of the, maybe less than that, of the Muslim population in America. But you've made them overpopulated so that you can get a skewed result. And you spoke to them on the phone. And how do I know when you were speaking to them on the phone? It wasn't like when I spoke to them on the phone and my friend, and it was someone else doing it. A white man who has neo-colonial conservative views that just wants to make everyone seem like he's a disbeliever. So I don't trust your stats too much, fully. Especially if you've got 1,000 people. But having said that, it's better than nothing. And especially when they've got more than that. Like for example, when they go and the billion Muslims, I think they asked 50,000 people. So now you have a stronger sample group. And the basic rule of thumb, we can't go through this now, but is the bigger the sample group, the more generalizable it is. So once you start to familiarize yourself with that kind of thing, then you can combat Orientalist discourses.
صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين